for the first month. You could cancel anytime. And, today, basically, I have Mary Sarati from Loan Depot speaking regarding these programs. I actually went to a first-time homebuyer seminar where Mario was speaking at, and I I was impressed. That's the reason I asked him to speak. I mean, I actually learned so much from it. There's so much of that about these programs that I had no idea about, and I truly think they're like just amazing programs that a lot of people don't know really. Because I did it. I'm in the business, and I do lots of closings, and I rarely see people use this program. And there's so many people who work in these industries that qualify for these programs, and I don't even think they realize that it's available to them. So I think, the more educated you guys are on these programs, the more you get it out there and hopefully find more buyers, and, and we all close more deals. So, Mary, I'll let you get started. Thank you. Thank you, Mary.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Giovanni. I appreciate it. And my favorite thing that you said was you saw me speak about this and you were impressed. So thank you. It takes a lot to impress a veteran. So thank you very much for that.
No, that was at class with Monica. And like I said, when I went,
I remember.
I didn't even know all the stuff you talked about. So yeah.
I would tell you that the real estate industry as a whole has a stigma with down payment assistance because of past performance on programs. And also when you're dealing with the wrong person, right? There's a lot of strong professional loan officers out there, and some of them may deter you from down payment assistance because they're afraid of it. They never use it. And they'll say things like, don't use that. They run out of money. It's not good, blah, 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 and all that stuff. And honestly, it's just not true. It's just that they're not comfortable with the program. So I'm an area manager for Loan Depot. I've been with Loan Depot for almost 6 years. I've been in the industry for about 23 years. I'm also a veteran of the United States Marine Corps, and I have a pretty good handle on these programs. I have a team of about 25, 30 loan officers between 3 offices, and we all offer it. I do regular training on this, and I do regular agent training on this, because I think that any agent that has said to themselves, hey, I'm going to learn, I'm going to hone my skill, I'm going to become a master of my craft, has to have this in their quiver, to be able to offer borrowers. Because as you'll see in the presentation I'm about to start, is this the largest problem that we have is down payment. And so without further ado, I will go ahead and start the process. Everyone should be seeing my screen. And I'm taking advantage of this opportunity to present 2 programs, actually. The first one is the very popular Hometown Hero. And the second one is one that we have called Access Zero. They're both down payment assistance programs, and they're both addressing the largest obstacle, which is the down payment. So here we go. By the way, at any given moment, go ahead and interrupt me if you have any questions. I can do this in partial Spanish if you'd like. I'll say a couple of things right now. Esta presentación va a ser sobre el programa de Hometown Hero, pero a la misma vez voy a presentar un programa nuevo que se llama Access Zero. Es un programa que da asistencia para la cuota inicial, que es el problema más grande, más grave que tenemos con los compradores. Muchos compradores tienen el ingreso y tienen el crédito, pero no tienen la cuota inicial. Y bueno, mucha gente también piensa que para la cuota inicial tiene que ser 20% y en realidad no tiene que ser tanto. Le voy a enseñar a ustedes qué fácil es usar este programa y cómo ustedes pueden conseguir más compradores y ponerlo en casas y poner más transacciones para ustedes. All right, so let's get started. So as I said, according to the National Association of Realtors, saving for a down payment is the biggest obstacle, all right? If you take a look at these first-time home buyers, they are the #1 demographic that we should be targeting, right? So the biggest problem they have is the down payment. If you take a look at this, they did a survey, and 75, 77, 73, and 78% said that they can buy now, but they need the down payment. The rest are either planning to pay it all in cash. They're going to receive a loan from their friends and family. They're waiting on that. They don't know what to do. They're not sure what their plan is, or they're going to borrow against their retirement. Some people do that. But I would say that over 3/4 of the population of people that want to buy homes need a down payment, need the down payment help. So what do? Instead of buying, they decide, hey, I'm going to rent. But you, as a seasoned professional that took this training and are connected with the loan officer that knows how to handle down payment assistance, you can kind of logically explain to them and financially explain to them how it does not make sense to rent. Because if you combine, most rent nowadays is on average about $3,000 a month. And most landlords require first, last, and security deposit. Well, that's $9,000. I'm going to show you how less than, I don't know, $7,000 or $8,000 you can be a homeowner as long as you qualify with the credit and the income. And most people do. They just don't have the down payment. But if they have enough money for first, last, and security deposit, there should be no issues. Entonces, lo que estoy explicando ahora es que la gente que no tiene la cuota inicial y no sabe, no han hablado con alguien que sabe, o el agente que le está ayudando con la renta no le ha explicado que pueden conseguir asistencia para la cuota inicial, deciden en rentar. Pero si te pones a pensar, para rentar hoy en día en Florida, en South Florida por lo menos, necesitan primer mes, el último mes y una seguridad que sale más o menos a $9,000, entre $7,000 y $9,000. Por menos de esa cantidad, uno puede ser un dueño de una casa y comprar su primer casa. Con tal que tengan los ingresos y el crédito mínimo, ellos pueden comprar en vez de rentar. Bien importante. So this is a finance guy, and he says he's a skeptic. He says if it's too good to be true, it's probably fraud. But sometimes it's true. Let me show you what's available. In other words, don't believe that it's a scam just because you don't understand the program. And don't listen to loan officers or professionals that say that these programs don't exist or they're not good because they just don't know the program. Mucha gente te va a decir que estos programas no son buenos, que la realidad es que los programas no están disponibles y eso son falsos, son algún fraude. No es verdad. Estos programas son disponibles. Hay muchos programas. Yo voy a hablar de dos programas en particular que son bien disponibles, pero hay otros programas que podemos, al fin de la presentación, podemos hablar. Okay, the two programs that we're going to talk about, the first one is Hometown Heroes. Everybody's heard about it. We'll go into the detail on it, but it allows you to borrow up to $35,000, 5% of the loan amount up to $35,000. The other program we're going to talk about is called FHA Access Zero. And this does not have a numeric monetary limit, but it does have a percentage limit, up to 5% of the sales price. Los dos programas que vamos a hablar, el primero es Hometown Hero, que da hasta $35,000. La verdad es, el cálculo es 5% del préstamo, pero tiene un tope de $35,000. El otro programa es FHA Access Zero, que no tiene un límite en la cantidad, pero te da un límite en el porcentaje, que es 5% del precio de la venta. So here's the first program. This is a very busy presentation right here, this particular slide. But I want you to understand something. Although we're going to speak about all these requirements, I do not expect you guys to really know every detail here. That's our job. Get us the consultation, know enough information to offer it to the borrower, and let us take over from there. Let us do the heavy lifting. Just like we wouldn't talk to the borrower about what area they should buy in and how many bedrooms and that kind of thing. We try to stay in our lane. I would tell you, just to know enough to be able to offer it, and then we'll go over the detail. But you guys are all professionals. You need to know a little bit about it, right? So here we go. So the Hometown Hero program. It's eligible buyers will receive 5% of the first mortgage loan amount up to $35,000. You can use this for closing costs and down payment. Vamos a hablar de este programa, se llama Hometown Hero. No espero que ustedes entiendan todos los detalles de este programa porque no es importante. Esa parte es trabajo de nosotros. En la misma forma que nosotros no hablamos al cliente de dónde deben de vivir y cuántos dormitorios deben de tener, ni nada de eso. Nosotros tratamos de mantenernos en el trabajo, enfocamos en la parte que nosotros conocemos. Y en este programa ustedes no tienen que saber todos los detalles, pero deben de saber suficiente para ofrecer el programa. So déjenme explicarles cómo los detalles para que ustedes entiendan el detalle, pero acuérdense que la meta de ustedes es nada más introducir el programa y dejarnos a nosotros presentar los detalles. So what are the requirements? You have to have a 640 credit score. So that's the most important part. And a lot of times borrowers don't have the 640, maybe they have a 630 or 620, even a 600, but we have the tools to try to get them to the 640 credit score. So keep that in mind. Don't be deterred from that. So if you're dealing with a renter and you pull their credit and they have a 638, don't worry. We can probably get them to 640. They have to work full time. And what does full time mean? Is a minimum of 35 hours. The company must be based out of Florida. So as an example, if you work for corporate Uber, you can get this loan because they're based in California. But if you're an Uber driver, you're declaring this on your Schedule C, you can qualify. So if you work remote for an insurance company and they have no offices in Florida, you cannot get this loan. So keep that in mind. You have to be a first-time home buyer. But a first-time home buyer is not someone that's never owned a home. It's someone that has not owned a home that they've lived in the last 3 years. So you can actually have a rental in Philadelphia, let's say, but you haven't lived there in 3 years. You can have a rental here in Dade or Broward or Palm Beach County. As long as you have not lived in it for the last 3 years, you are considered a first-time home buyer in this particular program. We do require a home buyer education course. It's only 8 hours. It's done online. And between me, you, and this discussion, you really could do it in an hour and a half. Not even in 30 minutes. It's click, 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 and answer the basic questions. It's a very basic program. This is what a house is. This is what a loan is. That kind of thing. It's very simple. If you're married, everybody that's on title must take this class, but it'll ask you if you're married, and it'll ask you for your spouse's name. And if you do that part, then only one of you have to take it. Okay, so that's the bar requirements. The program requirements are very similar. You have to have a 640 credit score. The debt to income ratio, which is our job, is 50%, which means that if you take your new house payment, your credit card, your car payment, your student loan payments, add them all up and divide it by your income, you cannot exceed 50%. This loan closes in less than 30 days. We close this loan in 10 days. There is no seller addendum required. The seller does not need to know you're doing down payment assistance. That's another misnomer in this program, another myth that we're going to bust right now. The seller does not need to know that you're doing down payment assistance, and I like to keep it that way because, again, the industry has a stigma against down payment assistance. We could do this loan in all 3 formats: conventional, FHA, and VA, no problem. There's no origination fee on these programs. And it has reduced mortgage insurance if your income is less than 80% of the area median income. Don't worry about that detail. That's just something, it's just a benefit. Another great thing about this program is that there are no documentary stamps, no intangible, and no deed stamps. What does that mean? That's a savings of between $1,000 and $2,000 a month that you would normally pay on a regular loan. More benefits for this program. Now, there is a drawback, right? This assistance is not free. You do have to pay it back. It is a second mortgage, but it's 0% interest rate. Interest is not accumulating on this loan. However, if you sell or refinance this loan, you will have to pay it back. The idea is to get you in the loan on a 0% interest rate for that money that you're borrowing. It's free money, it's free interest, but you will have to pay it back at the end. Ok, vamos a explicar el programa un poquito. El programa, los requerimientos del programa es un crédito de 640. Tienes que trabajar un mínimo de 35 horas a la semana. La compañía tiene que estar basado en Florida. Tiene que tener alguna oficina en Florida para que su comprador tenga este préstamo. En otras palabras, puedes trabajar remoto, pero con tal que hay una oficina que ellos están, que es cerca de la propiedad. Tiene que ser primer comprador. Un primer comprador es una persona que no ha vivido en una propiedad que son dueños en los últimos 3 años. En otras palabras, pueden tener una inversión a donde sea, con tal que no han vivido en esa propiedad. So, pueden ser dueños de una propiedad con tal que no han vivido en esa propiedad. Tienen que hacer una clase en línea de 8 horas, pero en realidad la clase se puede hacer en 30 minutos. Todas las personas que van a estar en título tienen que tomar la clase, pero si son casados, la clase le va a pedir que ponga el nombre de su esposo o esposa, y si ustedes hacen eso, nada más una persona tiene que tomar la clase. Es bien fácil. Los requerimientos del programa es iguales, es un 640. Y los ingresos, los gastos comparado con los ingresos, el máximo 50%. ¿Qué significa eso? Es un detalle que nosotros vamos a hacer, pero para que ustedes entiendan, el pago de la casa nueva y sumamos los pagos de los carros, los pagos de los student loans y los pagos de las tarjetas de crédito mínimas, vamos a tomar esos, a sumarlos juntos y dividirlo por los ingresos. Y no pueden pasarse el 50%. Este programa cierra en 30 días o menos. Nosotros hemos cerrado este programa en menos de 10 días. El vendedor no necesita saber que están haciendo asistencia. No es importante, no le afecta la transacción. Es más, yo les sugiero que ni les diga, porque en cuanto usted está presentando su oferta y les dice que están tomando una asistencia, entonces puede ser que no le gustan la oferta y van a escoger otra oferta. So, tomen eso en cuenta. Este programa viene en formatos convencional, FHA y VA, y hay razones diferentes por cuál usamos los formatos diferentes. Este no tiene un origination fee, so es menos plata que el cliente tiene que traer. Y tiene el mortgage insurance, hay un especial que si el ingreso es menos de 67,600 al año, el cliente paga menos en mortgage insurance. La asistencia sí se tiene que pagar de regreso, no, o sea, el dinero no es gratis, no se perdona, pero la tasa de interés en la segunda mortgage es 0%, so no está acumulando interés. En otras palabras, cuando ustedes vendan la casa o refinancian, o su cliente vende o refinancia, tiene que pagar ese dinero, pero el monto no ha crecido con interés. También si convierten esta propiedad en inversión, tienen que pagar dinero de regreso. Esto está diseñado para primer compradores, no está diseñado para inversionistas. So I'm going to stop there for a moment because I said a lot of things. And I want to encourage anybody to ask any questions on anything that I've said. So I'll pause there for a minute to see if anybody wants to unmute themselves and wants any clarification or any questions on everything that I just said. Voy a parar aquí un segundo por si acaso que tengan alguna pregunta sobre todo lo que he dicho, porque dije muchas cosas. So voy a darle la oportunidad de preguntarme algo sobre el programa. No tenga pena, don't be shy. Giovanni, you see how good of a job I did?
Someone asked, when does the program end?
The program does not have an end. However, it does have an end on funding, but it gets replenished every year. As a matter of fact, this year it was funded twice. Right now, there's something like 20 million left over, which is about 800, 900 transactions for the state of Florida, which is a lot. So there's still plenty of money left over. El programa, la pregunta fue cuándo se acaba el programa. El programa en este momento no tiene un fin, o sea, van a seguir renovando. Es uno de los programas que ha tenido más éxito. Es más, dieron más plata en un mes pasado. Todavía hay 20 millones de dólares disponibles, que significa es como más o menos 800 transacciones. Hay suficiente dinero disponible.
Ask, can you use this loan for condos 55 plus?
Yes, this loan can be used for single family, condo, townhouses, and manufactured homes. Yes, you can. Este programa, la pregunta es, ¿se puede usar este programa para un condominio de 55 y mayores? Y la respuesta es sí. Este programa se puede usar para casas, townhouses, condominiums y también para manufactured homes, para, no sé cómo decir manufactured home en español, pero sí se puede usar.
Someone asked, do both husband and wife have to work full time or only the borrower?
Okay, so if you're a borrower, you have to work full time. The spouse, if they don't work, they don't have to work, and if, as long as we're not considering them and their income, it doesn't really matter. But if we are only one borrower on the whole transaction has to work full time. The other person can be part time. So la pregunta es si todos los compradores tienen que trabajar full time, y la respuesta es no. Nada más una persona tiene que trabajar full time.
Someone, do you pay back interest on the amount borrowed if you sell?
No, the answer is no. It's a 0% deferred interest loan on the second mortgage. La pregunta es si perdón. La pregunta es si hay interés que se paga en el segundo mortgage, y la respuesta es no, es 0% de interés. La tasa es 0%.
Sí, Mario, ¿me oyes?
Sí, Juan, dale.
Estás. Tengo varios clientes que poseen lotes de terreno y quieren hacer su casa. Gente que aún no han tenido su primera casa, pero tienen un lote. ¿Ustedes tienen algún plan que sea de construcción y después se convierta a mortgage loan como one plan?
Bueno,
que pueda incluirse en este programa que estás hablando.
no, este programa no da para construcción, para construir la casa, pero si están comprando nueva construcción con un Lennar o con un KB Home, algo así, sí se acepta. No, pero lo que usted está preguntando es un construction loan, sí lo podemos hacer, pero nada que ver con este programa.
Cuando terminas de hacer la construcción y quieres cambiar, evidentemente, a vender la casa, ¿te la puedes vender a ti mismo y coger un mortgage?
No, en ese caso sería un refinanciamiento y sí se puede hacer, pero no va a ser con ninguna ayuda de ningún programa.
Entiendo.
Va a ser un refinanciamiento normal.
Muchas gracias.
Asked about your phone number and address, but you know, like we normally do, you'll type that in at the end. So Donald,
Yes.
he'll type that in the chat as soon as he gets a break, okay? And you'll be able to get his information. Hang on. There's a few questions. What are the abbreviations, more specifically DTI, MI, and AMI?
Okay. So DTI is debt to income ratio. And that's a calculation that lenders do. Basically, what we do is we take your house payment, right? Let's say it's $2,000. We take your car payment, let's say it's $500, $2,500. And let's say you have 3 credit cards and the minimum payment is $100 each. So we add all that up and we divide that by your income. And that is the primary indicator on whether you can qualify for this loan. The maximum amount on this program is 50%. And just to put it into perspective for you guys, on a conventional loan, the maximum is 50%. On an FHA, the maximum is 57%. Now, that doesn't mean everybody can get 50% and 57%. Well, let's take 57% off the table because that's for a program, that's for a regular FHA loan without assistance. 50% is if you get an approval with DU or LP, which I think we all are a little familiar with that. It's the automated system by Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac and FHA. So not everybody gets it. If you have bad credit, but you have a 640, you might not be able to get to 50%. Maybe the system will say, hey, no, maximum is 45% because of the credit profile. So not everybody gets 50%, but if you can get a 50% approval, then yes, that is the maximum. Voy a explicar la pregunta, contestar la pregunta en español. So, la pregunta es si nos puedes explicar qué significa DTI. DTI es Debt to Income Ratio. Bueno, es matemáticas. Bueno, es el máximo que el lender te va a dejar coger prestado comparándolo con tus ingresos. So, nosotros sumamos, vamos a suponer que la casa, el pago va a ser $2,000, vamos a suponer que tu pago de carro es $500 y vamos a suponer que tienes 3 tarjetas de crédito que tiene un pago mínimo de $100. So, sumamos todo eso, 2,800. Sumamos eso, bueno, y lo dividimos entre tu ingreso. Y ese número nos dice si tú puedes calificar para el préstamo. En este programa, el máximo es 50%. Sí podemos conseguir una aprobación electrónicamente de los programas de los sistemas de Fannie Mae y Freddie Mac y FHA. So, el hecho que el límite es 50% no significa que todo mundo puede recibir 50%. Si tienes el crédito bien, vas a recibirlo. Si no, puede ser que el límite sea 47, 45, depende del sistema cómo nos da el resultado. I think that answers the question.
There's some other questions. Someone wrote, when do you pay the second mortgage?
Okay, so the second mortgage does not have a payment due. You don't have to pay it at all until you sell or refinance. However, you can make a payment whenever you want to chip away at that second mortgage amount. So la pregunta es, ¿cuándo tenemos que empezar a pagar el segundo mortgage, que es la asistencia? Y la respuesta es nunca. Bueno, hasta que vendan la casa. Cuando venden o refinancian, sí la tienen que pagar. Pero si quieren pagar un poquito aquí, un poquito allá para reducirlo, sí lo pueden hacer en cualquier momento.
I had a question. So with regards to selling, is there even if you sell it 30 years down, you still got to pay it back? There's not like let's say a time period?
Mm-hmm. This loan is the second mortgage is never forgiven. And let me explain to you why. This program is the eventuality of this program is that they want this program to be self-funded. And what that means is that 3 or 4 years down the road from now, we don't have to worry about, Governor DeSantis refunding this loan because people have been paying it back as they sell and refinance, and the money keeps coming in and going in circles. That's the goal of this program. La pregunta es, ¿cuándo se tiene que pagar este dinero? O, bueno, no cuándo, si este dinero en algún momento se va a perdonar. Vamos a suponer que 30 años pasen, en algún momento se perdona y la respuesta es no, nunca se perdona. La idea de este programa es que eventualmente ellos quieren que este programa se mantenga con dinero de la gente que está vendiendo y regresando el dinero al programa para estar disponible para otros sin tener que contar con el gobierno que constantemente esté dando dinero para el programa.
Someone asked, where did they need to apply?
Well, so the program doesn't have a website you apply on. You will apply with me and my team. I will at the end send out if you want to send me the roster, I'll send contact information to everyone. So I like to take the loan application over the phone and talk to the borrower so I can kind of dig in on what their goals are. I like to make it more personal because everybody's case is a little bit different, and I can identify pitfalls and help them understand if they're not ready, how to get ready for it. So la pregunta es cómo aplicamos para el programa. Bueno, y la respuesta es, bueno, yo le voy a mandar mi información a todo el mundo después de la presentación, pero a mí me gusta hablar con los clientes personalmente. Si quieren estar en la conversación está bien, pero para yo entender la meta de ellos y ayudarles a entender cómo se pueden preparar o si ya están preparados y contestarle todas las preguntas. Aplicando en una máquina, en un website, no es personal y a mí me gusta entender el caso del cliente.
Mario.
Yes.
So it's correct, right? Not everybody does this loan, right? I mean, I know mortgage brokers really can't do it, and that's why they really don't promote it.
That's correct. And so, and the response to that question is, in order for you to be able to offer this loan as a lender, you have to be highly capitalized. And most lenders, especially mortgage brokers, usually cannot do it for several reasons. One, this loan pays very little to the lender. And so most mortgage brokers will say, no, the program doesn't exist. Oh, the program ran out of money, because they rather steer you into an FHA loan. I'm not saying everyone's like that, but most lenders cannot do this loan. You have to be highly capitalized and approved by Florida Housing. La pregunta es, ¿todos los lenders pueden hacer este préstamo? Y la respuesta es no. Para poder hacer este préstamo, la compañía tiene que tener suficiente líquido en dinero para poder hacer este programa. So, muchas de los mortgage brokers te van a decir que no pueden hacerlo, no lo hacen porque el programa no tiene dinero o no es un buen programa, pero eso no es verdad, es simplemente no lo quieren ofrecer porque el programa de verdad no les paga a ellos mucho. Ellos prefieren que usted haga un préstamo de FHA para que ellos ganen más plata. Nosotros aquí en Loan Depot no funcionamos así. Nosotros le pagamos la misma cantidad de plata si hacen un FHA, un down payment assistance, lo que sea.
Couple of questions. A couple people asked if you're okay with the sharing of the slides.
100%. I have no problem with sharing the slides. La pregunta es si podemos compartir la presentación. No hay ningún problema. Yo les puedo mandar la presentación.
Okay.
A mí me gusta compartir.
Ruth, I am going to upload the slides on the website. And also, like, if you want, you could email me and I'll send it to you. Susie also just asked, it's better if you email us directly, either, me or Mario, because once, we log off, all the chat gets disappeared. So this way we don't lose your information. I'll put my email address there. Also, one last question I see. And everyone, thank you so much for all the questions, because like I said, I've been doing like these classes weekly and there's not a lot of participation. So thank you so much for participating, because that's how we all learn by questions, Somebody asked, what about the abbreviations MI and AMI?
Oh, thank you. I did forget that. Okay, so AMI stands for Area Median Income, and this is published by HUD every year. And for DADE, and it's not adjusted for family size. Sometimes it is. This program does not adjust for family size, and I'll explain what that means in a moment. What they're saying is that every applicant on the transaction, if you add up all the money and they make less than $67,600, which is, I did the math on the monthly, $5,633 a month, their mortgage insurance gets reduced by, I would say, 40%. So if a regular mortgage insurance is $200 or $100, it's going to be $60 or much less, 40% less. But if you think about it, somebody that makes $5,600 a month is going to buy something like a $250,000, $280,000 condo. So it's really not a big sale. But if they do fall under that category, they pay much less mortgage insurance. So la pregunta es, ¿qué significa AMI? AMI es Area Median Income. Es cuánto el promedio de lo que la gente gana en ese condado. En Dade, Broward y Palm Beach, ese número es $67,600, que en mensuales $5,633.34. Y si usted gana, si la aplicación entera, el dinero de todos los compradores es menos de ese número, van a recibir una reducción en la cantidad de que pagan en mortgage insurance al mes, que significa que pueden calificar para más. Pero si se ponen a pensar en una persona que gana ese tipo de dinero, va a poder contar un condominio, o si están comprando, vamos a suponer en St. Lucie County, uno de esos condados más altos, puede ser que compren casa o townhouse, pero eso es lo que significa.
Any other questions? All right, you want to proceed?
Yes. Thank you, everybody, for the questions. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, it's true. Thank you.
Okay, so here are the income limits for the Hometown Hero program. They're very, very generous. So in Dade County, you cannot make more than $154,800. Now, this, and let's go, Broward is $144,000 and Palm Beach is $146,100. The loan limits are $750,000 for conventional and VA, and FHA is $557,750. Now, I want you to understand something. This program uses application income. In other words, let's say that you make $160,000, which includes your bonus. I can simply exclude your bonus and you qualify for the program. I can pick a category of income to exclude. I cannot partially exclude it, but I can completely exclude it. And if you're married and you guys make more than that income, I simply eliminate one borrower. I don't have to include your husband or wife as long as you qualify. In other words, it's very flexible in that regard. Ok, estos son los límites del programa de ingreso. O sea, acuérdense que este es un programa de ayuda. So, ellos no le van a ayudar a un millonario, le están ayudando a la gente que lo necesita, pero son bien generosos con los límites. En Miami-Dade es 154,800, en Broward County es 144,000 y en Palm Beach County es 146,100. Y también un límite de precio, de préstamo. El límite de préstamo es $750,000 para convencional y programas de veteranos, y para FHA es 557,750. Ese es el límite de FHA. Normalmente no es un límite especial del programa, pero el límite de FHA. Pero, como estaba explicando, vamos a suponer que su cliente gana $160,000, que es más del límite. Pero eso incluye el bonus o overtime. Yo puedo eliminar esa categoría y pueden calificar. También, si vamos a suponer que el esposo y la esposa están en el préstamo y ganan más del límite, yo puedo eliminar uno de ellos para todavía poder calificar.
A couple questions. Well, one, Nina asked what was the income limit, but I guess the income limit is what you have up there: 154,800 for Miami-Dade, 144 for Broward, and 146,100 for Palm Beach. And someone asked, what about Port St. Lucie? Do you know what that amount is?
I don't, but I could tell you very quickly. 1 second. For Port St. Lucie, the limit is 128,250 for income, and for sales, well, yeah, 128,250 for St. Lucie County. El límite para St. Lucie County es 128,250 en ingreso. Any other question, Joe, or should I move on?
I think that's it.
Okay, perfect. Okay, next slide. So this is nice. How much is my monthly mortgage payment? Good question. Thank you for asking, people. Here it is. So I gave you 3 examples: a $450,000 sales price, a $475,000 sales price, and a $500,000 sales price. And by the way, what you're looking at right now is what I sent to all my clients that start shopping. I sent it to the agent and I sent it to the client to give them an idea on what their payment's going to be and what their cash to close is going to be. I have this automated. I can give this to you guys in less than 60 seconds. All of my loan officers have access to this. And this is something that's super, super useful for agents, and it's super, super useful for borrowers. So let's go with column one. Column one is a sales price of $450,000. This is a conventional loan using 3% down payment. There's your loan amount. The MI factor is the mortgage insurance factor. It's 0.76, and you multiply that times your loan amount and you divide it by 12. But don't worry, I did it for you already. The next few lines. So this is it. This is an example. So an example I did for taxes is $4,500, and for insurance I did $3,000. I think that's about on average what we'll see. The interest rate today was 7 1/8. Your principal and interest, your taxes, your insurance, and your mortgage insurance. So your total payment on a $450,000 home is $3,842. I can promise you, if you're going to rent a $450,000 loan, you'll be paying very close to that amount in rent. And then your cash to close, I broke down your prepaids, your closing costs, and your down payment. And then I give you the credit for Hometown Hero of $21,000 in this example. And look how much money you need for a $450,000 house, $5,213. Where do you see that? You don't. It is very difficult to achieve this with a regular loan. It's impossible. Let me rephrase that. Now, I'm going to test the audience. I know you guys don't like to talk, but let me see who can figure this out. Why is it that the higher you go in sales price, the less money you need to cash to close? Look at the $500,000. You only need $4,578, whereas the $450,000, you need $5,213. Does anybody want to take a stab at it?
Reduction in mortgage insurance?
Say it again.
Taxes. You're getting more money as a down payment because of the higher price.
That's correct, Michelle. This is based on 5% of the loan amount. It's just math. 5% of $436,500 is less than 5% of $485,000. If you were buying a $200,000 condo, you would probably need like $6,000 to close, as crazy as that sounds. But I think everybody would agree that buying a $500,000 house for less than $5,000 is phenomenal. And you could think of many buyers that were on the fence, that you lost transactions, that they decided to rent because they didn't know about this program. All right.
How long do you have to like be an employee for, for these types of jobs that qualify? Like if I got hired today, do I qualify immediately, or do I have to work for the company or whatever for a certain amount of time?
That's a very good question, Giovanni. And the answer is, even if you haven't started your job, if you have an offer letter, I can close you on this. Now, there's a caveat. You have to have a 2-year work experience. So let's say that you were self-employed for a year, you took a job at McDonald's for a year, and now you have a new job and you're making $100,000 a year. You show me the offer letter, and yes, we could do it. Let's say that you were in college, not high school. You were in or trade school for 2 years. You graduate and you got your first job making $75,000 a year. I can do the loan. Ok, vamos a hablar de unas cuantas cosas porque se me olvidó explicarle esto en español. Primero vamos a hablar de la presentación que está enfrente de ustedes, que es un cuadro que nosotros le damos a todos los compradores y también incluimos los agentes para que ustedes entiendan el presupuesto del cliente. Esto le ayuda al cliente a empezar, cuando ellos ven el precio de la casa, ellos tienen una buena idea de cuánto va a ser el pago y cuánto van a necesitar para comprar esta casa. En el ejemplo aquí, de 3 ejemplos, $450,000, $475,000 y $500,000. Ahí puse los taxes y el seguro. Y si ustedes ven el pago, en este caso de $450,000, el pago entero es $3,842 con 23 centavos y el dinero para cerrar es $5,200. El dinero necesario para comprar esta casa va a bajar a la medida que el precio suba. So, en este ejemplo, si usted está comprando una casa que de $500,000, nada más necesitan menos de $5,000. Imagínese comprando una casa de $500,000 por menos de $5,000. Increíble. Y la renta en una casa de esa cantidad va a ser más o menos igual al pago mensual. Y esa casa es de ustedes. Están acumulando capital. How do you say capital in Spanish? Equity, sí, pero en español, no. Plus valor, no, I can't remember, I'm sorry. Riquezas, o sea, son dueños y están acumulando un buen dinero en la propiedad. Giovanni, what was the question you had just asked? You're on mute.
About how long you have to be employed?
Ok, la pregunta es ¿cuánto tiempo tiene uno tiene que tener de trabajo para poder calificar para este programa? Y la respuesta es con la misma carta de oferta yo puedo aprobar una persona. Vamos a suponer que consiguieron un trabajo pero empiezan en 3 semanas o en 2 semanas. Con tal que tenga la carta de oferta, nosotros podemos ya calificarlos, pero tienen que tener entendido que tienen que tener 2 años de experiencia de trabajo. En otras cosas, o sea, no tienen que tener en la misma línea de trabajo, con tal que tenga 2 años de experiencia y un trabajo nuevo, podemos calificarlo. Otro ejemplo es una persona que está en colegio, universidad, o se está graduando, vamos a suponer, de mecánica o de enfermera o algo así. Con tal que podemos presentar 2 años de escuela, podemos calificarlo con la carta de oferta del nuevo trabajo.
Like I remember like that one, like I said, I went to one of your seminars, you gave out like a sheet of businesses that qualified. I mean, I'm not, is this not, you talk about that later in your presentation or do
No,
you-
I won't, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because the first iteration of this program had a profession requirement. No longer, they took that away.
What do you mean by that?
It used to be only for firefighters, people in certain medical professions, those kind of things. That they took that away. Now it's open to anybody,
Oh, wow.
any profession.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that.
Ok, entonces la pregunta que Giovanni me hizo es que cuando este programa primero salió, había una lista de 105 trabajos que calificaban. Paramédicos, firefighters, enfermeras, trabajos así. Pero ellos eliminaron ese requerimiento. Ahora cualquier persona puede calificar con este programa con tal que trabajen 35 horas mínimo y que están basados en el estado, tienen alguna sucursal, alguna oficina en Florida.
Mario,
Dígame, Mary Trivino, ¿cómo estás?
¿cómo te va?
Muy bien.
Mira, Mario, una preguntita. Lo hice en el chat, pero no me atendió.
Eso es culpa de Giovanni.
Giovanni is the responsible. Oh, I don't know. I'm going to ask it in English. If my buyer has a 20% down for the down payment, but is child short and the closing costs, can that be used for the closing costs in this case?
Absolutely. You can use
Okay.
it for closing costs or down payment. So la pregunta es, si el cliente tiene 20% de down payment, ¿podemos usar lo demás para los costos de cierre? Sí. Se puede usar para el costo de cierre o cuota inicial.
Right.
Vilma, did you have a question?
La pregunta fue al comienzo, cuando se supone que la persona que compra vive 30 años o a los 30 años tiene que pagar o puede heredar la propiedad a los hijos, y en ese caso los hijos tendrían que pagar.
Sí, exactamente como usted lo dijo. En cuanto el comprador, la persona que tomó el préstamo, ya no existe, ellos tienen que pagar de regreso, el segundo mortgage de regreso.
Ah, okay.
O sea, no se puede, you can't assume it. No se puede, I don't know how to say assume in Spanish, pero no se puede asumir. Okay, I didn't think it was that simple.
Kelly asked, any industry as long as company has a brick and mortar in Florida, is that correct?
That's exactly correct.
Okay, and then Carol asked, is Hometown Hero open to anyone who applies and meets requirements? Yeah, the answer is yes to that too, right?
Yeah. So la pregunta es, con tal que en la compañía donde el cliente trabaja tenga alguna oficina en el estado de Florida, la respuesta es sí, pero tiene que ser una oficina que ellos pueden manejar a esa oficina. Vamos a suponer que ellos viven aquí en Miami, están comprando en Miami o en Broward County, pero la oficina es en Jacksonville. Eso no va a funcionar. Tiene que ser una oficina que está aquí. A menos que el employer haga una carta que dice, sí, el cliente reporta a esta oficina una vez a la semana. Eso también funciona. So there is a case, they have to have brick and mortar here in Florida, and they have to be able to get to that brick and mortar. If the employer writes a letter that they report to the Jacksonville office and they live in Broward County, and they have to come here one day a week or one day a month, that is acceptable as well. El programa está abierto a cualquier persona que califica, no hay ninguna restricción. También podemos hacer DACA TPS y esos tipos de programas. So this program is open to anyone, even if you're not a non-permanent, if you're a non-permanent resident, like a DACA or somebody here on political asylum. But yeah, you could do it.
Y las personas que no tienen residencia, pero reportan taxes, ¿cómo se llama eso? El TIN number.
No, ellos no califican por este programa. The question is, can someone with an ITIN number qualify? And the answer is no.
Okay.
Got a quick question. Well, actually, my question was the one as far as about the industry, as far as about the brick and mortar. I thought I understood that. I actually closed one of these in Martin County, $250,000 condo. She paid $1,000 is her total amount that she paid. So just to let everybody know, it's an awesome program. But
Amazing.
since I have now moved north, but still part of a brokerage in Fort Lauderdale, what is the minimum or what is the maximum income requirement for Volusia County?
I have that right here. I have all the counties up. Well, Martin, since you mentioned it, is 128,250. And Volusia is 128, same thing, 128,250.
128,250. Thank you.
La pregunta fue, ¿cuál es el límite en Martin County y Volusia County? Y es 128,250. Que yo puedo, les voy a mandar el límite de todos los condados a ustedes también. I'm going to go ahead and send the income limits to everyone on this call as well.
Perfect.
Quick question for you. If somebody would like to, for example, apply tomorrow, how soon you will be able to give her or him the approval?
So that's a very good question. As soon as they apply, we will start evaluating it. And if everything falls into place, I could give them the pre-approval right then and there, as long as they're cooperative with getting me documents if required. Sometimes we don't require documents because the income is digitally validated. Loan Depot is a technology company, so we have agreements with the Work Number and Finicity, which are agencies that employers use for income verification. La pregunta es si aplican hoy, ¿qué tan rápido le puedo dar una respuesta? Y la respuesta es inmediatamente, con tal que el cliente coopera o coopera con nosotros, o nosotros podemos validar el ingreso rápido. A mí no me gusta dar un pre-approval, sino de verdad he verificado para evitar problemas. Y bueno, mire, yo soy el número uno en mi área de producción, y una de las cosas por la razón que yo he sacado mucho éxito es que yo sé decirle al cliente no. ¿Cómo decirle a la gente no se puede para evitar problemas? So I'm a pretty good producer. I'm number one in my area for the company. And one of the reasons why I've been successful is I'm able to say no to a client and able to say no to a realtor when it just doesn't work, to avoid problems. I don't want anybody losing their earnest money deposit. That's never happened in my career, and it should not happen because I'm very mindful of the dates.
So I have another question. For example, I have a client who's looking in a 55 plus community, right? But the association is requesting the 25% down payment because of the reserve, whatever. So how this client will be able to apply for this program?
Well, the client can still apply, but we can't control the association requirement. They're still going to have to do 25%. I mean, they could use this for the 25%, but it's not going to be enough.
Okay, so they will be able to use part of these as the 25%, and they can put the difference.
Correct.
And then if I find another unit, or I'm looking, I'm working with another client, and they don't require the 25% down payment, you guys will be able to give the approval with the 5%.
Yeah, we could do it as little as 3%.
Okay, thank you.
La pregunta es si usted está comprando una propiedad y el requerimiento de la asociación es 25%, si se puede usar esto para ese 25%, y la respuesta es sí, se puede.
Can someone buy, like, say, a duplex if they're living on one side using this program?
Yes, you can. La pregunta es, you can use the duplex, and you could actually use the rent from the duplex to qualify to the other side of it. La pregunta es si se puede comprar un dúplex de 2 unidades o 3 unidades o 4 unidades. Y sí se puede. Y encima de eso se puede usar la renta que está rindiendo las otras unidades que no está viviendo para calificar. Okay, so if we don't have any other questions, I'll move on. Okay, this is another program that we have. And it has its place, and you'll see why. Remember, the requirements for a Hometown Hero is you have to be a first-time home buyer. This program does not have that requirement. This program also does not run out of money. This program always has money, and it does not count on the government for it. However, it is not as nice of a program as Hometown Hero, and you'll see why. So what does it do? It offers up to 5% assistance for down payment or closing costs. So basically, your borrower's buying with 0% down payment. Because if you think about it, an FHA loan requires 3.5%. This is giving you 5%. So you have 1.5% left over that you can use for closing costs or whatever. The credit score requirement can go as low as 620. It goes as low as 600. But if your score is between 600 and 619, you cannot get the 5%. You can only get 3.5% of assistance. If you're above 620 or higher, you can get up to 5%. You can only do this loan in an FHA format. And the down payment assistance is structured as a fully amortized second mortgage, which means you will be paying interest on the second mortgage. The interest rate on the second mortgage is 2 points above the first mortgage. So if the interest rate on the first mortgage is 7, the interest rate on the second is going to be 9. Now, you may think that's a high number, but remember, it's a small amount that you're borrowing. The second mortgage is smaller, much smaller. So it's doable. It's not the best program, but it'll get you in the house to start building equity. So honestly, before we go into that, that is it. That's all the requirements. It's a very simple loan. You can go up to 50% debt to income ratio on this one. Also, that is the limit. And there's really not much to the program to explain from an explanation point of view and from a required point of view. There's no profession requirement. There's no income limit. There's no sales price limit. You're only limited by whatever FHA limits you, which is just the loan amount. FHA has a limit of $557,000, and they borrowed in Palm Beach for loan limit, which means that you can still get it if you're buying an $800,000 property, but the borrower has to pay it down to that loan limit.
Can you use this loan for investment property?
No, you cannot. Ok, este programa es bien simple. Es un programa que se llama FHA Access Zero. 0% de down payment, que significa es que el cliente va a recibir hasta 5% de ayuda como un second mortgage. Ese second mortgage sí va a tener pago. La tasa de interés de ese second mortgage es 2 puntos arriba más que el primer mortgage. So, si su tasa de interés en el primer mortgage es 7%, la tasa de interés para el segundo mortgage va a ser 9%. Pero aunque eso sea alto, tomen en cuenta que el préstamo es pequeño, no es grande. Si tienes un crédito de entre 600, que es el mínimo, hasta 619, nada más puedes tomar 3.5% de ayuda. Si tu crédito es 620 o más grande o más alto, puedes tomar hasta 5%. Ese FHA no tienes que ser primer comprador. El programa es bien simple, no tiene ningún otro tipo de restricción. Y la pregunta de Susie fue si este préstamo se puede usar para inversión. La respuesta es no, no se puede. Okay, here is the standard example that I gave, but using Access Zero. So 450,000, 475, and 500. The interest rate today was 7.25. This program does have discount points. You could take a higher rate for less discount points, but I think I took one that has something like 1% in discount points. And then if you look at the cash to close, it's $13,000, much higher than the Hometown Hero. But if you didn't have this assistance, it would be more like $29,000. So think about that. You know, it's still a very good program. It cuts the amount needed by more than half. And here are some examples. Their interest rate is not terrible. It's very similar to what the interest rates are nowadays. But it's not as nice as a program as Hometown Hero. But if your borrower's not a first-time home buyer, hey, this is a great solution. Now, the payments that you're looking at right here do include the second mortgage. Ok, este es un ejemplo, este cuadro te está dando un ejemplo de 3 precios, igual como el Hometown Hero, el ejemplo de Hometown Hero, 450,000, 475,000 y $500,000. Si ven el programa, vamos a suponer 450,000, el primer cuadro, necesita $13,000 para comprar. No es tan bonito como el Hometown Hero, que nada más necesitabas como $5,000, pero sin embargo es un buen programa. Este programa sí tiene puntos para la tasa. y bueno, el pago es un poquito más alto y el cash to close es un poquito más alto del Hometown Hero, pero sin embargo es más bajo de un programa particular, un programa normal como FHA. Siempre tomen eso en cuenta. Tomen eso en cuenta. Si esto hubiera sido un programa normalmente como FHA, van a necesitar casi $30,000 para el cierre. So tomen eso en cuenta. So I'll stop there for questions. Si hay alguna pregunta sobre este programa, aquí paro. Yeah, I know this program is not as pretty. Este programa no es tan bonito como los otros. Okay.
Yeah. Mario, you have to pay it back.
Yeah, you're paying it back every month. If you notice on the screen, under payment details in the middle of the screen, it says second mortgage, and that's the payment. And the example of option one is $288.07. So you are paying this back. La pregunta es si se tiene que pagar esto de regreso al segundo mortgage. La respuesta es sí. Es más, cada mes estás pagando un poquito. Si ves en el cuadro que le estoy enseñando, como en el centro de la pantalla, dice second mortgage. Y en el caso de opción número 1, el pago es $288.07. Giovanni, any questions in the chat?
Typing.
Este programa es una solución para gente que no son primer comprador. This program is a good example of somebody that's not a first-time home buyer. That's where you would place them. You know, they had a home a year ago, they rented, and now they want to buy again, but they don't have the down payment. They don't qualify for Hometown Hero or any program that requires a first-time home buyership requirement. So in this case, this would be a perfect program for them. Remember, you are dating the rate and marrying the house. We all know what that means. 2 years from now, you have enough equity to refinance into a lower rate and pay off the first and the second, and everything is, you know, you've gained all that equity. Este programa no es ideal para todo el mundo, pero sí tiene, sí es bueno para cierta gente que no son primer compradores. Vamos a suponer que vendieron hace un año y rentaron por un año. Y bueno, pueden, acuerde que la tasa no es para siempre, pero la casa sí. So, en 2 años, cuando la tasa bajen, ellos pueden refinanciar y ya van a estar bien y han ganado tanto equidad en la propiedad. Dime, Mari.
Any other questions?
Okay.
Is there anything else?
No, just me.
All right.
So this is my contact. This is my contact information. I'll be sending out the deck, and I'll you know, I'm here. I'll leave the floor open for anybody that has any other additional questions, whether related to this or not. If you have a general real estate question or mortgage question, me and Giovanni are here to answer any questions that you have. Does not have to be related to this topic. So we'll leave the floor open, and floors, you know.
Yeah. So, okay. Well, first of all, Mary, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Like, once again, today I learned some things that I didn't know. Like, I had no idea that it's now open to everybody. I did not know that. So that's like really amazing. And once again, it just blows my mind that I rarely have closings with this program. And it's like, you know, basically free money that, especially now knowing that everyone qualifies, it really does blow my mind that more people are not using it. So what else?
And Giovanni, to that end, just so you know, the audience can know, we close this year alone. I've closed myself over 100 of these, and my team probably has closed about 300 of these. Este año nada más hemos cerrado más de 100. Yo mismito más de 100 y mi equipo más de 300. O sea, es un programa que es de verdad, no es un truco, no es falso, es verdad y lo estamos usando activamente.
Yeah. A couple things. So, you know, before I mentioned on Thursday, I'm doing a probate class, you know, basically showing you how to handle, you know, real estate deals when someone passes away. I have Linda Monaco from Attorney's Title. She's their, you know, head of education for my underwriter. She spoke last week on, what was it, FERPT, I believe. So some of you may have heard her spoke. She's, you know, really amazing. So she's going to be doing the class with me on Thursday. You know, I actually posted the Zoom link, but I know it just got pushed up a lot, so I'm gonna post it. So if you want to register, there's the Zoom link for Thursday, 11 a.m. You know, as I mentioned before, you know, check out the website, theasterrealestateattorney.com. If you guys, you know, are a member of the group, we are doing the headshots on, I believe it's December 19th, I believe. I have a professional photographer coming in. She's going to do photos, do edits. It's all included, no charge to you if you're a member of the program. And as I said, we're doing $1,000 cash raffle every month. We did it last month. Chris Schneider won. And, you know, on the website, we have videos of all the past classes. We have PowerPoints of all the past classes. And we're doing this class, like, you know, every Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and really trying to help you and trying to bring value. And I'm going to continue to do it. So hopefully you can support. And yeah, any other questions, like about anything you're dealing with, anything, honestly, I'm here to help you.
Giovanni, if I could make a recommendation, if you want to have me back on, I would love to talk about the other down payment assistance programs. Broward County and Miami-Dade has a few. And we could also do a condo training, which is very popular with agents on, you know, it's very confusing what the condo world is like. If that's something that may interest you.
No, yeah, definitely. Like I said, I want to bring value. So anything that helps close deals, helps get business. So yeah, we could definitely we could schedule something for the January calendar for sure. 1000%. I mean, it seems like I'm getting okay feedback, you know, about you. I don't know. So yeah,
Broward County has a lot of good programs with money if you have the patience and are able to convince a seller for a 45-day contract.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. No, definitely. We'll definitely set something up for January. Yeah. Any other questions? Anybody? Like I said, you can unmute yourself. Any questions for me? Any questions for Mario? Anything you're dealing with doesn't even have to be about this. You know, an issue you're having on a closing right now.
I wanted to know where Mario's office is because a lot of times I have buyers who want to meet with someone face to face, unfortunately.
I have 3 offices. My main office, headquarters office, where I am today, is Miramar Parkway and I-75. But we also have one in Plantation on Pine Island and it's right by it's close to the 595 and Pine Island, maybe a mile north. And I also have one on South Dixie Highway in Miami on 83rd and South Dixie by the mall.
By what mall? The Dadeland Mall?
Dadeland Mall, thank you, yeah.
But you could close anywhere in Florida, correct?
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, of course, yeah. I mean, most of our interviews are over the phone, but yes, there are times where borrowers are insisting on meeting in person. A lot of times borrower think that their case is very unique when it really isn't. We see so many cases. La pregunta fue ¿a dónde son mis oficinas? Mis oficinas, yo tengo 3. Una que es mi oficina principal, es en Broward County, en Miramar Parkway y la 75. Tengo una en Plantation, en Pine Island, en la 595, bien cerca de ahí. Y tenemos una en South Miami, en la 86 y South Dixie Highway, que está cerca del Dadeland Mall.
Okay. So what's
Mario, I'm sorry, Giovanni. I wanted to ask Mario if you also do foreign national loans.
Unfortunately, yes.
No, I just had buyers
who
was on a foreign national loan.
Yeah, so foreign national loans are 45-day to 60-day contracts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, yes, we do.
Okay.
Yeah, and I always recommend that definitely when you are submitting an offer, and you know, with regards to the closing date, you know, usually you don't have a pre-approved letter from your buyer. Speak to the lender and see how much time they think they know to close that. Don't just guess and say, okay, the lender can get it done in 20 days. You know, because then you're going to be like, you know, you're going to be asking for extension. You're going to be, so just from the beginning, just speak with the lender. You know, you have the pre-approval letter, fine, you know, because every, you know, situation is different. Sometimes they can get it done in 20 days. Sometimes it could be 30, sometimes it could be 45. But use that as, you know, speak to the lender, use that as a basis for what you're putting in the contract. So this way, you know, there's not disputes later on about time periods and other issues. So, you know, definitely always, you know, speak to the lender.
Yeah, those loan contingency dates are really very, very important to protect that earnest money deposit.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's what's one of the things that definitely gets realtors in the most trouble.
Pero que haga los juegos, que yo no
I don't think she has a question. I just think she hasn't muted herself.
Yeah, I think so too. I'm trying
You want to mute her?
trying to find it. Hang on. Mute. There we go. All right. So any last questions before we log off? No. All right. So thanks everyone. Once again, like I posted the Zoom link for Thursday's class on probate, 11 o'clock. Hope you guys could join in, and it'll definitely be informative. It's definitely something you want to know, especially in Florida. With the so many, I'm trying to be nice to say it, there's just like so many properties dealing with deaths, with probate issues, people passing away in Florida. So it's definitely something you want to know about. Like, so when you're meeting with clients, you know how to handle it, and you get them to the right people, get it done correctly, and close fast and make money. I know there's like one realtor I know, like he was, closing over 100 deals a year, and that's all he concentrated was on probate. That's what he would solicit, deals that dealt with probate. He connected with probate attorneys and got referrals, and he was closing over, still does to this day, over 100 deals every year. They're not big deals, but the volume is crazy. So there's a lot of business out there for that. So definitely Thursday, 11 a.m. All right. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Mario. Really appreciate it. And Mario, we'll talk about doing something in January. Okay.
All right, guys. Thanks a lot.
Bye-bye.